Hey everybody, I hope all is well with everybody. I'm not going to get on here and talk a long time, just a quick time, just because I am a Pontiac School District parent. And so I was like, you know what, let me get on here and say my piece, because I see so many people online talking about the Pontiac School Districts, what they did say, what they didn't say, what they did send us, what they didn't send us, what should be this way, what should be that way. Listen, I'm coming here as fresh blood. What I mean by that is meaning that I don't got no history, no dirt on what this community board member did, or what board member did here, or what board member did there. All I'm thinking about is my children, their education in real time. That's all I'm concerned about. Okay, so as a district parent, I will agree on one thing, was that I feel like they should have done a better Q&A. The question, well, what we thought was a Q&A was more of just an informative thing, kind of to let us know what was already voted on and what was going to take place for next year. And if you had a couple questions or whatever, but otherwise it wasn't a discussion on like uh on forum type of thing, like the planning and the structure of it. Okay, now structure, let's get to that part. First off, everybody can't be a part of the planning committee. Okay, that's with any business, any company you run, operate. Everybody can't be on the planning committee for specific delegations. Like, do you know how many circles will be ran if everybody decided that they had a piece, a point, an opinion about every little aspect of things? Nothing would ever get done. Okay, so I'm not mad about not being a part of the planning committee, because before the planning committee happened, there's other meetings and forums that happen that have these discussions that parents don't attend. So we can't be mad as a community that we don't attend these parent meetings, we don't attend these board meetings when they talk about and discussing and telling y'all accounts is getting lower, but we don't attend them, and now we have to make executive decisions like now, and then everybody want to come out the bandwagon. Now, I am not pinpoint any particulars. I'm just saying, just vaguely. Okay. Now, if somebody has been addressing their issues to the board and things like that, that could be the case. I'm just speaking on me and my children, because my kids I have my oldest son went to Avondale, so he's in the Avondale School District, which is a whole another story. I do not like their grading scale at Avondale. So I feel like if your child is not a good test taker, do not go to Avondale. Okay. Their point system is totally different. Okay, that's another topic for another day. Okay, so but back to the point at hand, though. So when we had this particular meeting that they had, which was like May 20th, I mean, like there was only 20 of us in there, so like about 20 people. So like all these voices, they had another one the next day, so I don't know how many people attended that one, but the one with the 20. It was conducted by Kimberly Liverette. I believe she's a board. She's the Pontiac School District board president, or superintendent. Sorry, wrong thing. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't get up caught up in who title, what title. I'm concerned about my child's education, and as long as whoever is responsible for what delegation does what they need to do for my child, that's my main focus at hand. Okay, but like I said, my kids have been in Avondale School District. They started off at Oakside. From Pontiac, from preschool, my daughter went to Pontiac Peace Academy, but they've always been at Oakside, which we had very difficult learning. They was not trying to do an IEP at Oakside, so we left Oakside, and then we went to Blanche Sims, which was in Lake Orion. Us out there, the kids acting like they couldn't touch my kids out there, but it was hot, y'all. Let me turn this down. I was trying not to turn on the air because I didn't want it to distract, but it's getting hot in this car. Y'all see me sweating. Whew. But anyway, okay. Let me cool off for a minute, then I'll talk because it's hot. And I'm here trying to record this video in this heat. So sorry about the intermission delay on what I'm trying to say. Give me just a second. Whew. Hot, hot, hot. Okay. Turn that back off. I had to cool off for a minute. But anyway, so they've been to different districts, and even in Blanche Sims, I took my kids out there, and going to another district, West Bloomfield, Lake Orion, trying to put our kids out there. If your child isn't already intelligent or show signs of intelligence, don't be telling your babies out there. Okay, there's not no resources out there. There's no intervention programs or things like that for your kids, because there's not a lot of kids out there that have these problems, and if they do, their parents are taking them to private tutoring and things like that. So those resources are not there for your children. Hence why I brought my kids back to Pontiac School District, and their grades have improved. Everybody may say they hate Pontiac School District. I'm not saying that in Pontiac that is better for the teacher's sake. What helped them improve was because, which is still what I don't like always, but they stay on a computer doing iReady and things like that. And so it allowed for my daughter to stay advanced because her personal system took her to the next level. So what she learned more or less was from her, for they do iReady, and they do so, they do iReady, which is kind of like a platform like ABC Mouse or something like that. You know what I mean? So that's a platform that they use. I don't like that they're not on it all the time, but I kind of feel like the lack was our teachers not having enough support in the classroom. When you have a couple of kids that's misbehaving, it's distracting the whole classroom. That's anywhere, but this is Pontiac, and we know our kids are a little bit more distracted, a little bit more misbehaved, a little bit more mouthy, cussing, thinking they grown. They're more exposed to phones. They know all the top trends and things. So it's harder for a teacher without having a second aide in there. For Miss Smith could take such and such out in the hallway for a minute, so the main teacher could teach. So that's probably my downfall with Pontiac, is that we don't have enough aides because of the behavioral problem, which I've seen somebody else was mentioning about behavioral problems, which I do kind of agree with that, because we had like DARE programs. We had different educational anti-bullying information in elementary school. Like, I know everybody remember DARE, and they came and we had the big assembly on DARE and stuff like that. So we had a little bit more of that going on. But otherwise noted, my kids, they love their school. Another issue was just cosmetic, you know what I mean? Which my kids went to Owen, so they had not, in certain areas, I think, renovated certain parts of the building, the bathrooms in certain areas. So cosmetically, the kids didn't like the school. But I really feel like issues was more of a building thing with your particular building than just overall district thing. Like, we didn't get informative things. Like, my kids went to Owen. We didn't get any informative because our school is the one that's closing. So of course, for whatever reasons, so, but as a parent, it's also on you to stay up on top of what's going on as well. You know what I mean? Following, whether it be social media platforms or whatever. Lack of communication. Just because you're on social media and you have email, everybody in the district, some of these parents do not have the same means of resources. This Pontiac does still have our low income communities, which are a lot in the bulk of our schools to a degree. Your North Hill Farms, your Newman, your Edgewood, whatever, you know what I mean? Carrot Circle. Like, all of these areas, these people may be on social media, but they ain't responding to no class, no school emails or not. So communication floats all different ways, and it's like, the more we keep trying to get the district to cater to everybody's individualized needs, we're getting way past the point, because you could go to another district, y'all gonna follow the script. They tell you the email coming this way, you're going to go download your email. See, everybody want to do what they got to do to be in these other places, but then when it's come to Pontiac, oh, I can't do that. I can't do this. I don't know how to do this, and I don't know how to do that. They got all these complaints and things like that, but you can go to the next city, the next district, and do everything that they require for you to do for your baby to go there, okay? So that's another thing. So yes, communication could be better as far as our kids sending home. Like, we need to get back into that element of district news being delivered via a newsletter in your kid's backpack. Okay, so like, not just what's going on in my school, but like all district activities, whether it be Pontiac rec programs, all that stuff. Every month our kids should get a little newsletter to come home to inform us on the news, what's going on in the district, in your particular buildings, like, so that's first and foremost, like with that. So yes. Now when it comes to the merging and the combination, so if you look at the pictures I dropped in there as well, I went to the board meeting and it literally was like only 20 of us there, and when I tell you it was a feisty 20. Okay. And so like all these mouths, everybody wasn't even there. But so she did speak on the number count, and like, although emotionally, we want to address all these different issues, and the thing about it that everybody, and it's just the same situation in life, you can't do nothing without no money. They can't pay no teachers no more money without no money. The bills come first. Okay, we got to pay the lights and electricities and things like that. I know there's different pools for different things and different capitals for different things, but sorry, look, I'm just looking at that. I got on my waist trainer. I forgot I had it on my waist training vest, y'all. So forgive me, I'm looking a little crazy. But anyway, so you can't do anything without any funds and any money. And the thing is, where are we gonna come up with the money? We keep trying to increase enrollment to get more money, but the enrollment is not increasing because everybody has their own particular opinions about everything. So no, the enrollment is not increasing. What's the next option? Okay, we have to make numbers make sense. And although I hate to see fifth graders going to the eighth grade, because you know how I used to be back in the day, them ninth graders, them 12th graders, all the situations that happen. I think as a parent, it's just important for you to educate your child. What y'all thinking the problem these kids are already seeing, talking about in school. My kids, somebody was giving my daughter the virgin talk. Another kid. Okay, fourth grade. So what y'all think is the problem ain't even the problem. Like, y'all need to be talking to your children, making sure they're understanding their bodies, their emotions, what to do, what not to do, So my take on the merge with fifth going into the middle school, I think it's for the better, even though it seems like for the worse, because we're talking about on the social aspect. It may not be at its best thoughts, but for the most part of it all, hold on one second, y'all. Heat break. Pause. Okay. So my take on the fifth grade is going to the middle school. Sorry, it was hot now. Look, y'all, I'm trying. But anyway, so my take on that is that if we go into it with the right mindset, meaning that the fifth graders, we're going to have some honors classes. We're merging Elcott, Harrington, Owen, Whitman, Rogers, and then Whitman. Okay, so we're merging these schools together. If we get 5 scholars from each school, we can have a 25 pack honors fifth grade. Okay, and then the other classrooms can be where we can go off of, not saying we putting all the dumb kids in one class, and that's not the feel, but we can have one honors classroom, and then if you didn't make the honors class, then you merge and kind of do it where the classrooms rotate and switch in certain subjects, whatever, but as long as those fifth graders are on their wing, I think that it will allow for these kids to be more prepared for middle school, because there's certain kids that cannot even read yet. They're trusting the kids on this computer with iReady, this program that's designed to teach them, certain topics or throughout the day. But there are kids that are online and they cheating and they Googling the answers and stuff. And so, they really don't even really know how to read for real. So it's an opportunity to catch these flaws that they have before they already get to that middle school, so I think it's a good thing. I think it's a 50-50 good thing, but I think it's more of a positive than a negative, because I have to think about, like I said, kids first, my daughter's education, and why should everybody flock to try to get our kids into ITA just to get a decent education? Because back in Central Northern, okay, we had honors AP, honors literature. We had different, even in middle school, we had different separated honors classes. So, it's nothing wrong with starting that at the fifth grade level to get them prepared for the middle school level. So, I did, in the comments, you'll see the charts where it shows the numbers and how everything makes sense. And if everybody just looked at the number and see it makes sense, yes, they're like, oh, we're depreciating our district. No, we're trying to save money so we can focus on the students who want to be in this district, who parents are focused on their child's education and making sure that, I don't want to, look, I'm not the mom that feel like I'll be wanting to have to take my kids all the way out to West Bloomfield and things like that just for my children to get a decent education where I live. Okay, this is where I pay my taxes at. Okay, so we gonna get it together. Okay, so and I have hope and I have faith. My kids are in fourth and fifth grade, and so I may not have advocated in different times because I didn't have kids in the school district, but I encourage anybody, any parent, if you have children that are in the Pontiac School District, to stay active. Like, there's not much PTA. I don't know if there's some type of Pontiac School District PTA group where we can have one large that focuses on the welfare of all of our students and not just one specific building. That's also an option as well.